This is the Bat Flip Podcast. Now here's your host, Damian, David, and Matt.
Hey everybody, and welcome in to a live edition of Bat Flip Entertainment. I guess this isn't going to be a full podcast, but tonight I'm Matt. I'm here with David tonight, and we're going to talk about the All Star Game starters that got revealed tonight. Fan voting has been completed, and we have a hot off the press just announced on ESPN the All Star Game starters for 2025. So, David, how do you feel about how voting went? And, how are you doing tonight? First off.
I'm doing good. It's one of them. I'm ready for the long weekend here coming up for
Me
sure.
too, man.
But as for the All Star Game starters, I'm excited. A lot of really fun names here. We talk about the All Star Game a lot. In terms of like deserved versus popularity. There's a lot of this is especially when it comes to the starters. This is very much a popularity contest, and it's really fun to get a good name in. And oh, hey, my cat has joined the podcast as well tonight. So how about that? But it's one of those things where we got some weird names in there, right? Some guys who I think you and I would call not deserving all-stars, but it's great to see them in there. And that's what I'm most excited to talk about tonight. I think you and I both know who I'm gonna rave about and talk about all this episode, because I'm really, really excited for it.
Yeah. So I guess we can start off, go position by position. And to start off with the NL, Freddie Freeman gets the first base voting. No surprises there. He's still the best first baseman in baseball. You got at second base, Ketel Marte, very good pick there. Ketel Marte has been awesome this year, having an excellent season so far. The National League shortstop, Francisco Lindor, he's one of the best shortstops in the game, super popular, no surprise there. And then Manny Machado got the nod at third base, who is having a resurgent year this year. No surprises there. So, David, I'm assuming out of the infield here, all four of these guys, pretty, I feel like they're I'm pretty sold on it, right?
This is pretty much chalk, right? This is what we were expecting. I would say the cool part about this infield is that I would say three of these four guys are future Hall of Famers. And Ketel Marte, I mean, he would need to kind of go crazy over the second half of his career, but he's not that far off of being like a kind of future Hall of Very Good type of guy that's on the borderline for discussions. Like, this infield is got a lot of future like honors, pedigrees, statues going on in it. With Lindor, with Machado, with Freeman. Like, this is a very, very talented group that is all three of them should be first ballot Hall of Famers in a few years. So all-star nods. I mean, that's just, more feathers in the caps for all those guys.
Yeah, you mentioned Ketel Marte. I wanted to bring him up a little bit more, talk about that. He has 2.9 WAR this year, but despite playing only 59 games so far, and he is back from his injuries. But he's got 0.6 more WAR than any other second baseman in all of baseball, and 0.7 more than any other in the National League, where Brendan Donovan and Nico Horner are tied for second. So it's been very cool to see Ketel Marte continue this resurgent career he's had. And like you said, there's a chance that he ends up, becoming he could become a Hall of Famer one day. I mean, there's a legitimate chance for that. He's really going to have to play well into his 30s. Repeat this season, the season he had last year, 3 or 4 more times to get there. But like, it's possible. So very good player there, and no surprises. I guess we can move on. We can talk real quick about the American League infielders. So at first base in the American League, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got the vote. Gleyber Torres at second base. And then you've got at shortstop, Jacob Wilson got the shortstop vote, the rookie. Very cool to see that. And then Jose Ramirez, no surprises, third base. He's one of those guys that is a shoe-in at this point. So I guess, looking at that infield, any surprises in the American League for you?
Yeah, I think so. First of all, I didn't realize how good Gleyber Torres has been this year.
He's actually
not only has Gleyber Torres been absolutely incredible with a 137 WRC plus and 2.3 WAR, but he's got like a 400 xWOBA. Like, it seems like the numbers think he should even be playing better right now. His strikeout rate and walk rate are the same. Like, he's kind of become a force in this Tigers offense, and it's really refreshing to see, because now that he's gotten out of New York and he's kind of away from that circus a little bit. He's really gelling well with that Tigers group. So I'm going to say Gleyber Torres is not one of the snubs or the surprises or anything. I think the biggest surprise for me is that Bobby Witt Jr. didn't get elected. After a 10 WAR season, thought some of that would carry over, where Bobby Witt Jr. has kind of cemented himself as a superstar in this league. He's top 10 in WAR again this year. He doesn't quite have the homer numbers right now, right? And then he doesn't quite have the batting average up to the level that Jacob Wilson has. And that I think that's kind of torn him down a little bit, but he's been very, very good still.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Pena just got hurt, right? And he's better than Bobby Witt Jr. and Jacob Wilson. I think Jacob Wilson should have been an all-star. I definitely wouldn't have been voting him in for starter. And I think that's maybe our biggest shock so far.
Yeah.
This group.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I love that Jacob Wilson got in here. He's a really, really unique player. He's really fun to watch. He's a little bit about like if Luis Arias was good at defense and had a little bit of power. That's what Jacob Wilson's been. He's got a 7% strikeout rate at this point, which is fun to see. So I'm glad he got in. But I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. obviously has been excellent. A lot of times when you get this fan voting ordeal, the fans are going to look at the offensive numbers more than the entire value of the player. So Bobby Witt Jr.'s value this year has been tied in base running, defense, and offense. Of course, he's been a good hitter, but he's down from what he was last year at the plate. And when you're looking at a guy that has a 123 WRC plus versus a guy with a 140 WRC plus, or Jacob Wilson's hitting 339 with a 380 on base right now. I think there's a little bit of a that there's a little bit of a bias from the fans to vote for a guy with the better offensive numbers. So I think and then Jeremy Pena, of course, being injured, it really doesn't matter that he didn't get the vote, although he has led in WAR and also just has been probably the best bat here too this year so far. So definitely an interesting pick there. But I don't have too many complaints about it. They're all three of those guys are really good. It's not like they picked somebody who's just not a good baseball player to be in the All-Star game. We've seen that before. Alcides Escobar, Orlando Arcia. That happens a lot at shortstop, where a shortstop that plays good defense on a really really good team ends up getting in. So, but I guess we can move on. Talk quickly about the two catchers that got voted into the All-Star game. So the National League catcher, no surprises here. Will Smith got the National League catcher nod. And then the American League catcher is going to be, no surprises, the guy who is 1A, 1B for MVP, Cal Raleigh. No surprises there whatsoever. Any thoughts?
My thought is I'm so glad that Cal Raleigh's getting the honor of going to the All-Star game. I do believe he's gonna go to the home run derby. I think that
him and Acuna are the two that have already confirmed. I'm not sure if there's been another one since then, but I know that Acuna and Raleigh have confirmed it.
I haven't seen one, but I can't wait for the narratives to come out when Raleigh doesn't win MVP. It's because he participated in the home run derby. But it's great to get his name out there. That's a guy that he's playing like a superstar. He's getting treated like a superstar around the league. He's going to get honored like a superstar. That's good to see. Will Smith's been the best NL catcher for a while now. I think we've seen William Contreras and JT Realmuto and a few other guys kind of bounced around with that, but Will Smith's just been steadily in that top three, and I want to say this is his first starter nod. I think it's been Realmuto up until last year when it was
Darno got one, I think.
Yeah, so I don't know that Will Smith's gotten one, so it's good that he's in there. The easiest way to track is All-Star appearances, but Will Smith's been an All-Star just about every year. It's just he's an injury replacement a lot of the times. The catchers it's a good time for them to recover is this All-Star break. So no real shocks, I think, for this group.
No, not at all. And I guess just to kind of talk just a little bit more about catcher, shout out to Alejandro Kirk, who's been awesome this year. And shout out to Carlos Narvaez, who's been awesome for the Red Sox. So it's just a couple guys to kind of mention. And then in the National League, you got Carson Kelly, who's been great. Hunter Goodman has been really, really good for the Rockies. Probably their best hitter.
He'll be their All-Star, I think.
He will be.
Hunter Goodman will be there. Yeah.
He's second out of National League catchers in WAR. And then I guess one more shout out to Drake Baldwin. He could have been here too. In the game at least, not as a starter. as kind of a guy who splits time. So definitely, definitely cool to see Cal Raleigh get the nod, and also Will Smith. But I guess we can move on and talk about the. I guess we'll go with the outfielders here first, and then go to the designated hitters. So in the American League, your outfielders are going to be Aaron Judge, I believe, got the highest vote, right?
Yeah.
So Aaron Judge got the highest vote, so he's locked in. And the other two are going to be Riley Green from the Tigers, having an excellent season, and then Javier Baez got voted in. So good, cool for Javier Baez. I'm not sure if we're going to agree with that selection, as in, like, is he the best, one of the three best outfielders in the American League? Probably not. But David, what do you think?
He's definitely not one of the three best outfielders in the American League. Don't even get that like started. But Javier Baez is a guy that, in this case, it's less a vote for the All Star Game and more a vote of like comeback player of the year. Like, this is a awesome resurgence by Javier Baez, and a player this popular, with this kind of magic. He's performed really well for the Tigers this year. He's won them a lot of games in a kind of a contract that we had said might be a little bit underwater. It might be going poorly. Like, are they going to trade him? For him to be able to not only turn that around, but also captivate the Tigers fan base enough to vote him into the All-Star game over very deserving additional outfielders in the American League is incredible. The job he's been able to do there. And a lot of that is, it's something we talked about with the Rafael Devers stuff. It's like the willingness to change positions. Like, he was very willing to move to center field, step off a shortstop, solve that gap for them. And in so doing, he elevated his performance. He's been able to play a lot better. I'm really proud of everything Javier Baez has done. I think he's one of the first players ever to make the All-Star game for two different positions in two different leagues. That's amazing. Like, that's super cool. So as a starter, that is, and it's, that's the kind of thing that's like, it's completely foreign for guys this late in their career to just, I'm just going to switch positions. I mean, we've seen it with Mookie Betts, and now we're seeing it with Javier Baez. These guys just stepping into a totally different role they haven't done their whole carear. Been able to pick that up. That's awesome.
I will say, for Mookie Betts going from right field to shortstop, it's a lot different from a shortstop going to center field. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It's a cool story for Javier Baez to get in. He's really exciting. He captivates fans. It's going to be fun to have him in the game. I would have not voted for Javier Baez. I do think Riley Green for sure, and obviously Aaron Judge definitely was deserving. But I think I probably would have gone with Byron Buxton in there. He has only played 68 games, but that's more than he would normally have played to this point in the season, and he's been absolutely out of this world good this year. So Byron Buxton, he's also got 15 stolen bases, which is kind of surprising, the fact that he's running a lot again. Kind of interesting, but definitely definitely some other guys to shout out here, with Stephen Kwan having another great year. Julio Rodriguez quietly is actually fourth among American League outfielders in WAR, which is kind of interesting. And then you could probably shout out Randy Arozarena as well. He's got a 132 WRC plus this year. So kind of a bounce back for him too.
A lot of that is in the last 3 days.
Oh yeah, but still, he's having a good, he's having a bounce back year. So definitely interesting picks there in the American League. And so I guess we'll talk about the National League. The National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. got voted in. Pete Crow Armstrong also was voted in, and Kyle Tucker was voted in. So David and I are going to have a lot of fun talking about this group.
This is a great group.
But yeah, David, what do you think?
I'm just glad Teoscar Hernandez didn't get in there. The Dodgers didn't jam one extra more of their guys in that can't actually play defense in the outfield. Got these guys in there that are actually good. But no, Dodgers hate aside. This is a great group. I think very deserving. The thing about Acuna, of course, is that he hasn't played a whole lot this year, but it's so interesting to me when we talk about the All-Star game stuff, because Acuna's reputation is out of this world, right? And he's played well in the time he has played, but as a whole of the 2025 season, he is probably not, the most deserving, but we know who Ronald Acuna is. If Ronald Acuna is starting your All-Star game, your fans are doing it right. That's a good vote. So there's some juxtaposition there in terms of deserving, but I mean, I can't fault the Braves fans for voting in Acuna, especially the way he's come on in this middle part of the season and tried to galvanize that offense. And then for PCA and Tucker, I mean, it's been so much fun to watch the two of them play in the outfield together all season long. I mean, PCA is a completely special talent, the kind of center fielder that goes and gets every single ball. It doesn't matter where it is. And not only that, he's managed to go 20-20 to start the year here. He's on pace to go 30-30, 40-40. And so is Kyle Tucker, which is Kyle Tucker's also on pace to go 30-30. And the Cubs haven't had a 30-30 bat since Sammy Sosa. So that's pretty insane. The other insane stat that I saw was that Pico Armstrong and Javi Baez, the two center fielders starting in this game, were traded for each other.
Yep, that's right.
Which is not something that happens very often. So very cool at note for this All-Star game, and it'll be a storyline to follow as we get into the break.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have any complaints about any of these guys. I think the Ronald Acuna Jr. conversation is so interesting because he has been like one of the top 10 for the season outfielders in the National League. Yet he's only played 35 games, and it's just nuts what he's done since he came back from his injuries. He's been amazing. I think you could have voted in James Wood if you're being totally unbiased here, but James Wood was deserving of being here. He'll be in the game. He'll be the Nationals guy, and he's been unbelievable this year. But the last note on Acuna is that the game's in Atlanta, so it's very, very good to have a Brave starting the game. I think that's good for baseball, good for the All-Star game. So definitely cool there. We'll see him in the All-Star game as well as we mentioned with Kyle Raleigh. In the Home Run Derby. Like we mentioned with Cal Raleigh. So definitely cool stuff there. And I guess the final spots, obviously the American League, the National League designated hitter that was the leading vote getter, Shohei Ohtani. No surprises there. I don't even think we need to talk about Shohei Ohtani. But the American League is actually Ryan O'Hearn got the nod, and I think very deserving. But what do you think of Ryan O'Hearn getting the nod to start the All-Star game?
Well, Ryan O'Hearn only got the nod because the guy in front of him in votes was Rafael Devers, who got traded to the National League in the middle of the voting process. And those votes got carried over to the National League, where Devers finished second to Ohtani. But O'Hearn's been pretty good. I don't know that he would have been my particular choice for ALDH, especially before Devers got traded. I thought that one was a pretty clear choice, but I think you still have some other reputations.
Was Devers listed as a DH?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So, I think like a Brent Rooker is probably a better consideration, giving him a little bit of a nod for last season and then having a very good season, but not the same great season that he had last year. I thought that would have been maybe a better choice. But O'Hearn's good. It's just one of those things where he's kind of very platoon heavy, right? Like, I mean, Michael Busch has been, effectively the same as Freddie Freeman this year, but Michael Busch only does it against right-handed pitching. And it's like, well, we're not voting. I'm not sitting here going, why is Michael Busch in the All-Star game? Like, it's because Freddie Freeman does it against everybody. Like, Ryan O'Hearn doesn't really do that. He's kind of a platoon guy. I don't love that, but it is what it is, because there really wasn't a whole lot of good options there in the AL.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan O'Hearn and Brent Rooker and Yandy Diaz. I don't know if he was listed as an option, but Yandy Diaz has had a bounce back year this year. I think I probably would have gone with O'Hearn. His production has been a pretty good bit better than Rooker's this year. Although, as you did mention, the platoon splits are a thing, but it's not like you're breaking a tie. I feel like Ryan O'Hearn's been a pretty decent amount better. But Brent Rooker's been awesome too. I love the fact that Brent Rooker's plate discipline has continued to get better since he kind of broke out with the A's a couple years ago. This year his plate discipline numbers are actually pretty good. And I think that's going to bode well for him. I think he'll have a big second half of the season based off of that. Ryan O'Hearn, it's cool, and I guess the Orioles need an all-star too, because who else is it going to be? I mean, they've been so bad. I guess. I mean, their stars that were supposed to be stars haven't been stars this year. So, and they've got a lot of injuries to guys that are like Rutschman, who would have been, a popular guy to vote for, whatever. So, But yeah, we've got that. I think that's about it. That's all the players here. Anybody else that you want to shout out that you thought could have been a starter?
It sticks in the DH, but I mean, without Seiya Suzuki here, I mean, or without Shohei Ohtani here, Seiya Suzuki is a surefire all-star. 23 home runs, he's leading the league in RBI. Like, he's been an incredible DH for the Cubs. That's frustrating.
I would say that he would be the number 3 guy here because Schwarber's been amazing.
And Schwarber too. Yeah.
Schwarber's been,
of course,
it's been the best season of Schwarber's career at the plate, which is pretty crazy because he's had some really good ones.
Both of those guys are going to be in as reserves. Whether and obviously Seiya can play the outfield, like you could theoretically bring him in as a reserve outfielder.
Yeah,
you have to get everybody in, but both Seiya and Schwarber are kind of dwarfed by Ohtani, and so it's understandable that's that neither of those guys are in, but both of those guys will be there. So it's tough. It's a tough hurdle for them to overcome, but both have been great this season. Beyond that, I don't know if I had anybody else necessarily. Maybe Jonathan Aranda. We didn't really talk about the Vlad Jr. selection at first base a ton, but I think maybe Aranda probably could have gotten a nod. Just Tampa Bay just doesn't have the fan base to get there.
Yeah,
and Vladdy has the history. So
and kind of what you were talking about with Ryan O'Hearn. Aranda's got pretty big platoon guy, and Vlad Jr. is going to play every single day. But yeah, I could have gone with Aranda there. A few other guys just to kind of shout out a couple of guys. Michael Garcia, I think we got to mention him. He should be in the game as a Royal being in there, and probably him and Witt get in. But he's been amazing this year. 135 WRC plus, really a breakout year for him. Matt Olson actually leads National League first baseman in WAR by a pretty substantial margin right now. He's been really good this year. Even better than he's been about a full win above replacement or a little over a half a win above replacement more than Freddie Freeman this year. The defense has been excellent. He the front runner for Gold Glove, so that's another one to kind of shout out. And Trey Turner's been really good at shortstop. So
I got 2 more.
Yeah.
Before we pop off, Corbin Carroll, who got hurt, right? So Corbin Carroll, obviously a guy that could have.
Oh yeah. I didn't bring him up because he got hurt. Yeah.
Right. He could have been in there in that Acuna spot, but unfortunately the injury. So he'll probably get the All-Star nod and then injury replaced in perpetuity.
He should.
Yep. And then you have Ellie De La Cruz, who has been excellent this year.
Awesome.
But he got Lindor. Lindor is just, he's got the reputation. He's got the New York media behind him. There's just no way Ellie's winning that battle.
And I'll mention real quick, Trey Turner's been better than Lindor this year, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he has. In fact, Trey Turner has better defensive numbers than Lindor this year. So shout out to the Mets for that one. But
and let me throw CJ Abrams in that group as well. Like CJ Abrams has better offensively than all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, he's just got to learn how to play defense.
Yeah. CJ Abrams probably just isn't a shortstop at this point, but another guy that probably could be in this game relatively easily and may not even get the nod because we know James Wood will be there. So
Seth Lugo has not made it yet.
That's my June player of the month, Adam. I didn't see your comment on Monday, but that was my June player of the month.
So, but all right, I guess I'll probably wrap it up. I actually got one bonus question here. Who are you going to start for the pitcher in the National League? Because we know who's starting in the American League. It's good, assuming that he's able to. His rotation works out.
Yeah, assuming Scooble's available, it's Scooble.
Yeah,
and then I mean Skeens.
Yeah.
I mean, if it would have been one thing if a Chris Sale was back on the same level and you could start Chris Sale, but he's hurt.
Yeah.
And Schwellenbach probably you can't start. He just wasn't good enough, and he just got hurt again.
He's hurt.
And Strider hasn't pitched enough to be able to do. Like I want to start a Brave, but like
Sale would have been an option here if he didn't get injured. But I think Skeens probably. But I do want to say Logan Webb and Zach Wheeler are right on his heels right now.
You could start any one of those 3 guys and just go to the next one.
Yeah, for
any
sure.
rotation of those 3 is going to be a good rotation.
Yeah, and in the AL, I want to shout out Hunter Brown and Garrett Crochet for being great, but Tarek Skubal is quite clearly the best pitcher in baseball right now. And if he pitches, which he pitched on Sunday, So that would probably line him up to pitch on like Thursday. So he probably is lined up to pitch in the game, possibly.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think he would probably get the start, but Crochet or Brown would be good options too.
I have one last thought before we close it out here. I think the National League is in this starting group only is much better than the American League, top to bottom. I think the AL has the two best players. The National League has the better team, top to bottom, by a lot. It feels like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like the AL with, Gleyber Torres isn't the same type of player that Ketel Marte is. No, not trying to throw shade at Gleyber Torres. He's had a great year. You look at first base, Freddie Freeman and Vlad Jr. are not the same player.
I'm picking Freddie every time.
Yeah, I think you look at you look at third base, even like Manny Machado, he's great. He's having a great year, but Jose Ramirez is another level right now.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
one
obviously
spot. Yeah.
and then obviously in the outfield, I mean, you've got Riley Green, Javier Baez, and Aaron Judge. Judge takes him up a level, but Acuna, Crow Armstrong, Cal Tucker, that clears pretty easily in the outfield. So I definitely think. Oh, and I will say the AL catcher.
Yeah, ALS catcher,
yeah,
but
AL
NLS
catcher.
DH, NLS Otani over O'Hearn.
Yeah, and then
So,
but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully the game. I think the game is Tuesday night next week. So definitely going to be an interesting All-Star week. Very cool to have it in Atlanta. I was just over there on Saturday at the game, and lots of excitement around there. They're selling all the merchandise in the in this team store and stuff for the All-Star game. The jerseys look terrible. I don't know who designs the jerseys for the All-Star game every year, but they're just atrocious. I was in the team shop. I didn't get a picture of them to send to you, David, but they were. I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if they've been revealed anywhere else. But they're bad. They're real bad. So I had not seen them until then. So, but yeah. Any final thoughts?
No, that's it. Go. Let's go. I'm ready for the draft Monday. After you like and subscribe so that you get our notifications for this next show on Monday is going to be the mock draft where Matt mediates myself and the same guy who did it last year, Andrew Vanderlei, I think is his name. We'll be doing a mock draft in preparation for the MLB draft coming up next Sunday, where we will be live during it.
Yes.
So subscribe, like, stay tuned. We got more content coming up. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up for us. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support we can get. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.